Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to another virtual career day. I'm so excited to bring you today's guest. And that guest is somebody that you might already know and love because there's somebody that's in our school that's related to this person. So you guys, welcome Miss C.
Hi, you guys. I miss you guys so much. So the person that I'm going to introduce to you is super special to me. The person I'm going to introduce to you is my mom. My mom is one of my favorite people in the world. She has a very cool job. She is a registered dietitian, and I'm going to have her explain that a little bit more to you because it is a really cool job, and I cannot wait for her to tell you all the really cool parts of her job. Go ahead and take it away, Mrs. Berry.
Hi, everyone. I am so happy and honored to be with you guys today. I know some of you. I've been in your school, and I just love your school. I love your teachers. I think you guys are just so fortunate and lucky to go to such a great school. So this is not exactly how we planned our career day to be, but we're improvising, and I think it will be really fun anyway. So my name is Kathy Berry. I am Mrs. C's mom, and I am a registered dietitian. And the study of being a registered dietitian / nutritionist is the study of food and how it affects and helps our bodies. So it's a big science. It's a big science experiment, and it's really fascinating to me. And I have loved studying it. I have also loved practicing it. So what I brought for you today to begin with is just a very quick and simple breakfast that anybody could make from probably the second grade on. And breakfast is really important. The word breakfast means break. That's the first part of the word. And fast, which means not eating. So when you go to bed at night, you don't eat all through the night. And so breakfast means breaking that fast and having something to eat. And it is really an important meal of the day because it gives you fuel after you've been sleeping, and you need fuel in your furnace to get going for the day. So it's really important to have a healthy breakfast. So one of the things that is a wonderful food for all of us is an egg. An egg is a beautiful combination of some protein and some fat. Protein in your body helps you build muscles and cells, and fat in your body helps things happen. It helps your bodies absorb vitamins and nutrients. Fat is also very important for you. And an egg has something really important called lutein, which is good for your eyeballs, helps you see. So eggs are really good for you. So this particular breakfast, I almost dropped it, is going to have an egg, and you're going to be surprised. It's also going to have some oats. Oats are really good for you, and some milk. And we are going to make oats in the microwave, and it has an egg in it, and you're going to be amazed how it turns out. And there's a trick to this. First of all, you crack your egg. I always like to crack it in a bowl first. So that way, if I get a little bit of shell in it, I can fish it out before it goes in the dish. So there's the egg. And this is the one important trick about this little recipe, is you really have to whip that egg up. Because when it goes in the microwave, you want it to be nice and smooth and puffy. You don't want to have chunks of egg. So get a fork or a whisk and just whip it up really good. You want it nice and whipped up. And then we're going to use a half a cup. This is 1/2 a cup. This is like a fraction, 1/2 of a whole cup. We're going to use a half a cup of oats. I just have quick cooking oats, but you can use old-fashioned oats. You can use any kind of oats. You could even use in this recipe a package of those instant oatmeals, like Quaker instant oatmeal. You could even use that. But I'm using today a half a cup. This is a half a cup of regular instant oats or quick cooking oats. We're going to put that in there, and then we're going to also add a half a cup of milk. Now, I happen to have 2% milk because that's what my family likes, but you could use water, or you could use almond milk, or soy milk, whatever you happen to have. But you need a half a cup of some kind of liquid. So we're going to whip that up really, really, really good. Because we want it to be nice and smooth. And what this egg is going to do, instead of having like chunks of egg and chunks of oatmeal, you're going to be very, very surprised what happens. It just makes, the egg just makes the oatmeal kind of puffy. And it's really, really tasty. I like to add a little bit of sugar to my oatmeal. Otherwise, it's like eating a bowl of paste. And I don't think anybody likes to eat a bowl of paste. So I'm going to add some brown sugar. And if you happen to have some cinnamon in your house, you could give it a dash of cinnamon. You could also add some raisins or some chopped up apple. All those things are really, really good. But you got to have something in there, I think, to give it a little bit of sweetness. Otherwise, it's kind of pasty. So there it is. And now you want to have a nice big cup, because this is a measuring cup right here. This is a 2-cup measuring cup. You see we added a half a cup of oatmeal, so that brought it up to a half a cup. And then we added a half a cup of milk, and that brought it up to a whole cup. See how that works? A half and a half equals a whole. There's your fractions. So you want to have a big cup, because as that egg is going to make it puffy, so it's going to rise up. So I'm going to walk away to the microwave, but I'll come right back, and we're going to cook this for a minute, and then we're going to whip it up again, cook it for another minute, and you're going to be amazed. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So while that's cooking, I want to talk to you a little bit about science. I think science is very, very fascinating, because to me it's like a story. Like this happens, and then you wait, and then this happens, and you wait a little while, and then this happens. And so science is like this whole big story, and you're constantly learning, and you're wondering, well, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And an example of that is about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, my daughter, Mrs. C, came over and she said, Mom, let's sprout some seeds. And I said, well, all right, I don't really know how to sprout some seeds. She said, I'll show you. This is cool. So she had this little gizmo. You can do it with a lot of things. And she put these seeds, and they come out, they started out like this. See these little seeds right here? I'm going to show them to you in my hand. They're just plain little seeds. See those? Okay, we put them in there, and then we poured water on them. And I'm going to show you what happens after I go stir this oatmeal one more time. You have to cook this for a couple of minutes, and after every minute, whip it up. Otherwise, it gets kind of chunky. I'll be right back. Here I am whipping it up. It just looks like regular old oatmeal at this time, but you want to stir it because you don't want the eggs to separate. I'm putting it back in. Okay, so now after Bridget put those, Mrs. C put those seeds in there, and we poured some water over them, I want to show you what the next batch looks like. Hey, sat there for a week. This is science. See the difference between what I showed you first? These plain old little seeds. And now look what happened. These seeds are ready to get planted. These are little baby sprouts. And I'm going to plant these in some dirt. And we're going to have some flowers. So that is, pardon me, that's my dog. Her name is Molly. She's kind of loud. So that is the interesting thing about science to me. Science is the story of one thing happens and then another thing happens. And how that relates to nutrition is that is exactly what happens in your body. When you eat food, your body takes that food, that protein from that egg, and it helps build a cell. And it takes that lutein from that egg, and it helps your eyes see. And it takes that energy, that carbohydrate, which is the fuel that comes from oatmeal, and it gives you energy so you go run around and play at recess. And that is all science, and it all relates to how things grow and how things change. And that is why it's so fascinating to me, because it's a big story. And right now, science is really, really important in our country because we've got doctors and we've got nurses and we've got scientists, and they're trying to find medicines, and they're trying to find cures for this virus that's happening. So science, it's really interesting, but it's also really important, and it really, really helps us. So I'm going to go check on my oatmeal. Stay right there. Okay, you guys, it's done. Now I want to show you this. See how it's puffy? It's not like soupy oatmeal. It's like puffy. See, it's like a little oatmeal pie cakey thing. It's really, really good. And the wonderful thing about this oatmeal, as opposed to just regular oatmeal, the thing that made it behave like that is the protein from the egg. And it is delicious when you eat it, I promise you. That's one thing about dietitians. We really, really like food. So typically what we eat is pretty darn tasty. Okay, so now there's our breakfast. You could put some bananas on that if you had them, or raisins, or apples, or whatever you had, but it's really, really, really quite delicious. And I got this recipe from people, athletes, who were like weight training. And this is a perfect fuel for them to give them protein and give them carbohydrate before they exercise in the morning. So it's a very, very healthy breakfast. So what does a dietitian do? You might think, well, what do you do besides make oatmeal and talk about seeds that are sprouting? Well, dietitians do all kinds of things. We go to school, we go to high school, and we perhaps love science. That's how I became a dietitian. And then we go to college and we study nutrition, and we study more science, and we study about people, and we study a lot of really, really interesting things. And then what you do as a career is, I've worked in the hospital, I've worked in nursing homes, and probably one of my most fun jobs is I helped run a wellness program, and I helped people be healthy. I helped people make good choices so that they could be strong and be healthy. And we talk about things like getting enough sleep and exercise. And right now in our country, those things are really, really important for us. Some of the best things that you can do right now to keep yourself healthy as kids is get really good sleep, because that's when your body heals, and also eat really healthy food, like a simple bowl of oatmeal with an egg to give your body lots of nutrition to keep you strong and healthy. And then also go outside and play in the sunshine. As it turns out, sunshine and exercise is also very, very good, not only for our immune system, but also our whole outlook on life. So a dietitian, we do a lot of different things. And for me, it's been a wonderful career, and I really, really like it. But the first thing that, what made me fall in love with nutrition was cooking in the kitchen with my mom, loving dinner, loving breakfast. I loved our cafeteria ladies when I was your age. I thought they were just wonderful. And I know that you have some really special cafeteria ladies, and that was one of the first things, the first things that I remember about wanting the study of food was my wonderful cafeteria ladies. Because I went to a small school much like yourselves, and we all knew the cafeteria ladies. And then also, I just love science, and I think science is just very fascinating about this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And we can look around in our life today right now and see how important science really is for all of us. So that's what I brought you today. I wish that I had smell-o-vision or taste-o-vision, and you could actually taste this, because it's really quite delicious. It's one of my favorite breakfasts. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Knight and Mrs. C, and we'll see what they have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to try that breakfast myself. It looks absolutely delicious, Miss Berry. So we'll just, Missy, I'm sure that you have probably had that breakfast once or twice in your lifetime.
I have. We just had it yesterday. And let me tell you, Mrs. Knight, it is absolutely delicious. Very, very good.
I love that. That is awesome. So we're going to have to try that out. So you kind of already touched, Mrs. Berry, on what school is required. So you have to go to college to get this, to be able to become a dietitian. So we'll go to the next part. And you even kind of touched a little bit on this, but your favorite part of your job.
Oh, well, definitely my favorite part of my job is helping people, whether I was working in the hospital or whether I was working in a nursing home or whether it didn't matter. But what really was my favorite part of my job is to go home at night and know that today I helped someone. It's very fulfilling.
Very nice. And the last question that we have for you today is, what was your favorite subject in school?
Well, golly, I was hoping you'd ask me who my favorite teacher was.
Oh, that's a good question too.
Well, my favorite, I love nutrition and I love science, but I also love to read. So if you love to read, you typically like to write, but I would have to say my favorite subject was, I loved the sciences. And even though they were hard, it was fascinating to me. I loved looking in a microscope. I loved, like when you guys got to hatch the little quail a couple of years ago. Did they come this year? I think that all of that is so fascinating. So I would have to say I really love the science. Because science is kind of like art and sort of like a story to me.
Mm-hmm.
Science is definitely my jam, Miss C. You know that from our time working together, because I
absolutely
love science. So I'm right there beside you, Miss Berry. Well, who's your favorite teacher, since you asked that question? Who was your favorite teacher?
Oh gosh. Well, when I was in college, my advisor was my favorite teacher. She was the first nutrition class that I ever took. And I remember I took nutrition just because I thought it was fascinating and I thought I wanted to be a dietitian, but I wasn't sure. And I met my advisor and she was talking, she had gone to India and she'd worked in the Peace Corps and she'd helped all these children that were starving, and she was talking about protein and what it does for a body, and I almost started to cry in class because I was so excited. And I ran home and I told my mom and dad that I thought I knew what I wanted. I called them on the phone. It was back in the old days when you had a dial-up phone. And I called them and I said, I think I want to be a dietitian. So she was my first nutrition teacher and my advisor. Her name was Dr. Betsy Mills. She was wonderful.
Well, and we know teachers do definitely change the path of things. And Miss C, I've heard so much. I've got a couple friends out there that in my class, particularly right now, that I can think of, I can put their name on, like, they love art class. They love being in there. They love doing those things. So thanks for being such a great teacher and being out there. And Miss Berry, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It is a privilege. Thank you for being a wonderful teacher, Miss C, and a wonderful daughter. And thank you for all that you do to help these kids bloom and grow, both of you.
Oh,
thank you.
Thanks.
I can tell this was so much fun because my face hurts from smiling.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Miss Berry, thank you for welcoming us into your home, and stay tuned next year for when Career Day is back.
All right. Maybe we can take it in the classroom and everybody can have some.
I love it. I love it. All right, boys and girls, thanks for joining us again on another Career Day. We'll see you next time.